we're live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 281 of the Co-op Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Billy Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Gary A. Swaby. How's it going, Gary?
It's going very good, thanks. Good to be back for another show. I'm excited for these topics. I have a lot to say on each, so let's get to it. I'm liking this new revamped co-op podcast that we're doing. So let's get to it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we're also joined by Mr. Edward Velasquez. How's it going, Edward?
Yo, what's up?
All right, so we do have a couple of things we're going to get into. This is going to be a very fun show because we have a lot of different topics we're going to be discussing, and it's not all necessarily about gaming, but don't worry, we do have a lot to talk about with gaming as well. So before I get into that, we're going to let you all know what we have been playing and what we have been up to. So I'm going to go to you first, Edward. How about you let us know what you've been playing and what you've been up to?
Honestly, the only thing I played this week was Red Dead Redemption 2. I was completing the epilogues. Great game. Y'all should check out our spoiler cast for Red Dead Redemption 2. We literally just recorded it, so yeah.
Uh, Absolutely. I will also co-sign that I definitely will check that out, and it is a show that everybody should check out. I heard the tail end of it, and that was enough to make me want to finish the game. So I think y'all both did an excellent job. I'm going to give you a round of applause. Yes. Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, and that will be out very soon for our Patreon people, and everyone else will get it later, like maybe a week or two late. Well, probably a week later. But our Patreon people should get that, sometime this weekend. So look out for it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Gary, how about you? What have you been playing and what have you been up to?
I didn't get the chance to play a lot this week. Unfortunately, it was a kind of busy week for me. But of course, we know I've been playing Overwatch. Here and there, and I did play some Skyrim as well, just because it's a game I'm familiar with, and I was listening to a podcast that I really wanted to listen to, and sometimes to really take in information, I like to be doing something as I'm listening, and Skyrim is a familiar game, so I just played some Skyrim, while I was listening to a podcast. And that's pretty much it. I didn't play anything else, unfortunately.
It sounds good. It sounds good. So you haven't been up to anything else then, aside from gaming?
Um, just work, and like Ed said, we did this Red Dead discussion.
Yeah.
Um, that's really it. I live a boring life now, so that's really it.
Okay. All right. I totally understand that. We're a lot older, so people think that we don't have a life anymore. I guess I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. So as for me, what I have been playing, there are two games that I spent a lot of time with this week. Um, First and foremost, I have had a chance to play Ace Combat 7, and I will have a review for that. I want to say sometime this weekend, but it may end up being on Monday because I'm working on a ton of different things. But Ace Combat 7, this is basically a combat simulator game. So if you like these games where you're flying in a jet, you're shooting down enemies, in a lot of dogfights and stuff like that, you might enjoy the game. I mean, what I find interesting about the game is it does have a there is a PlayStation VR mode that you can try. I'm going to say this right now. If you are not someone that is used to playing games on PlayStation VR, I would not recommend that you play this game right out the gates because, man, the minute you put on that headset, and if you decide to change the view of the actual gameplay where you're playing in first person view, man, all the herky jerky head movements and stuff like that, you will get sick very easily if you decide to go in and play it that way. Um, but for what it's worth, it is a fun game. I don't really play too many combat simulator games, air combat anyway. But it's I mean, it's a pretty fun game. You have objectives. There are about 20 missions in the campaign that you have to play through. It is telling a story of a war that is brewing between two different factions. And it's also telling another story that interlays with that story. So I have to say it is interesting. I did get a chance to play Ace Combat 6 a while back, and that was a long time ago because that game came out that had to came out at least I have to say maybe 6 or 7 years ago. But this game is pretty fun. I'm not going to say it's a game for everybody because you have to be in the mindset to play those types of games. But I could say that I wasn't really planning to play Ace Combat 7, but I have to give a shout out to Namco Bandai for sending me the game. So I definitely am enjoying it, and I will have a lot more to say about it very soon. So stay tuned for the review within the next couple of days. In addition to playing that, I also finally jumped back into The Walking Dead, the final season. I just finished episode 2 the other day, and I'm actually starting episode 3, which I will be playing tonight after we finish recording this show. Um, I just want to say this right now. When I started playing episode 2, because I finished episode 1 a long time ago, because that came out back in August, and then they had episode 2, which dropped in September, and then it was around that time where we heard the Telltale was going to be shut down. They're pretty much done or over with right now as a company. And there was a lot of questions lingering as to what was going to happen with this series. And then, of course, Skybound Games came in and took over. And they just released episode 3 this past Tuesday. Episode 4, which is the final episode, is coming out sometime in March. But I just want to say, jumping back into this game, um, it just I feel a lot of different emotions about the game because just playing it, it brings me back to when I first played the original Walking Dead, and then the fact that I thought Telltale did such an excellent job with this game, and then the fact that they've had all these other games they were working on, like the Batman game was okay. I still think that the Borderlands game, that is possibly the best game that they've ever made, but Walking Dead is up there also. So just playing through this game, knowing that the story is coming to an end, it does make you feel very sad. And then when you see how they handle a lot of the characters in this particular chapter, because I just finished chapter 2, again, it's a lot of things that happen in that chapter where it's like very chaotic. One thing that I do think is interesting, and I'm not going to say any spoilers, even though everybody would know this if they played episode 2. I like the fact that they did bring back another character that has been missing from the series for quite a while. I'm not going to tell you which character because it kind of spoils a lot of things that happen moving forward with episode 3. But I was curious what happened to that character after what happened after all that character went through the first season. So glad to see that this person has returned. I don't know if they're going to have Lee return at any other point, because they keep talking about Lee once again in this particular episode. But I have to say, from what I played so far, I'm still enjoying the game. But I mean, again, when you know that it's coming to an end and that Telltale is not going to make any other games, it definitely leaves you with a very sad feeling because I thought they were onto something with Walking Dead, but unfortunately, however they all the financial issues they had with the CEO issues and changes, it's just unfortunate that it came to this because I really think that they could have done more aside from Walking Dead. I want to see them create their own IP, their own property without having to get all these other licenses, and unfortunately, we will never see that. So it is a bad feeling, but for what it's worth, Walking Dead, it's still good so far in my opinion. So I'm very curious to see what happens in episode 3, and I will for sure talk about that next week. And there will be a review for that as well. So stay tuned for that because all this stuff will be dropping within the next couple of days.
Fair enough. And as for The Walking Dead, since I never bought this series. I mean, this season initially. I'm gonna wait until all episodes are out, and then I'll probably buy it then, just to make sure that they do come out and that it is finished.
Well, I understand that. I do want to say, if somebody was to ask me, is this the best season of The Walking Dead? I don't think I could say that. I mean, I thought that season two was great. I still think season one is hard to top season one because of the fact that you had a character like Lee who just unfortunately was the main character but did not survive to the end of the game. And I thought that that was a very interesting way for them to take that and then also take everything that he learned and the fact that he taught it to Clementine and now it basically comes back around full circle where she is now trying to teach this stuff to AJ. However, don't really know how that's going to end with Clementine because they have a lot of different things going on in that second episode where it makes you think things could end grim for her or AJ, but I have no idea which direction they're going to go with that. But I will say it is a good season. I don't know if I can say it is the best season because I still think it's hard for them to top season one, but it is definitely still worth playing. And yeah, you should wait until it's cheaper if you don't want to pick it up now, because there is, believe me, there's enough to finish playing already. So I wouldn't tell anybody to make time for this. Definitely pick it up later if you don't have the time to play it now. That's what I would say. But that pretty much concludes what we have been playing for this week, what we've been up to. I haven't been up to much myself, just been went on a couple of different job interviews, so I may have some more positive news to share in the future. But right now, just taking it easy. The year's just started, getting things kicked off, so very much looking forward to what's in store for us in 2019 and beyond.
Good
So
luck. Good luck with the interviews, man.
thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, as I said, that concludes what we've been playing, what we've been up to. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into some of these topics. And this first topic is by far going to be a very fun and interesting conversation because I'm pretty sure all three of us had a chance to see this interview, and we all have thoughts about this particular rapper, which I would say right now is, without a doubt, my favorite rapper of 2019 already, and that is Soulja Boy. You know, so obviously, we know about the controversy with him in the consoles. We'll get into that as well. But he actually had an interview on the Breakfast Club a couple of days ago. He basically used it as a platform to talk about a lot of things that people didn't. I didn't even know he had an opinion on. Certain rappers he has beef with, or he says copied him, so on and so forth. So that was interesting. And then, of course, they asked him the question about the gaming consoles. He was saying, oh, well, he can't talk about any of that stuff legally based on what his lawyer had to say. Um, I do think that he kept mentioning in that interview, which I found interesting, is that he said, oh, they had so many orders that it was just so much, the demand was so high. And I'm thinking to myself, well, who the hell is ordering this console? I was surprised to hear that. But then again, I have to also question whether or not he was sincere when he said they had all those orders. So I guess you wanted to pose the question, Gary, is Soulja Boy an embarrassment to minorities in the gaming industry?
Hmm.
So I'm going to go to you first and ask you that question because yeah,
Yeah.
you're the one who posed it.
Soldier Boy, tell him.
Yeah, he told him. But yeah, so the reason this question comes to play for me personally, like now I've been, because when I'm commuting to and from work, or during the dead moments at work and stuff like that, I'm listening to content. So I'm listening to the Breakfast Club interview. I'm listening to him on Everyday Struggle, and then I'm also listening to YouTubers react to Soldier Boy, and different there's been a few different YouTube channels I've been listening to see what they're saying about not just Soldier Boy, but different gaming issues and news stories and stuff like that. So I've been listening to a lot of content this week, and it's like I don't like that race is attached to this issue like to this story, but it is. And Soldier Boy is like, now of course he's he's insane. Like we know that he's an idiot. Like in this case, because we know that he's selling a counterfeit product. He shouldn't be selling this. He doesn't have the licenses to sell Nintendo and Sega games on these devices. We know that he's just selling bootlegs from China and putting his name on it. Like we know this. But you know his, I guess his fans and these people who have ordered the console, they don't know any better, and they just assume that you know it's an official product from Soldier Boy, and he's done the back end business, and that the product is legit and everything. So there's people out there who legit think this is real, you know, and they're ordering it. Um, so you know whenever he's questioned by people who have insider knowledge like we do about how the business works and everything, whenever he's questioned, he brings up he brings up the fact that he's black all the time. Like he says, they don't want to see a black man getting money and all this stuff. And to a degree, I understand that. I understand why he's saying that, and there is some level of truth to that statement in different contexts. But in this context, though, it's a bit different because he is blatantly ripping off, you know, these companies, and they have the right to sue him. So he's a scam artist basically, and he's openly being a scam artist. He's openly lying. There was a point in that interview where he showed Charlemagne his phone and he said, "Read out how much money I made off of it." And you know, Charlemagne reads the number, and then a second later he said, "But this is a Google image." So like it wasn't real basically. Like he's just a scam artist, and he's been lying across all these interviews. And he you know he actually did get into trouble with Nintendo. They tried to sue him, and he had to take down the first line of consoles that he brought out back in December. And now he's basically just brought out a new one, and the new one is basically the PSP knockoff. It's designed like a PSP or Vita or whatever, and you know it has 800 games or whatever. So the reason, you know, I bring up this question, is he, you know, an embarrassment to minorities? It's like, because now the issue of race is coming up because of him, because he's using, you know, that he's saying that statement of they don't want to see a black man getting money. So now I'm seeing all these different gaming YouTubers react to that statement, and I don't like seeing stuff like that, like, because I don't like, you know, it's it just makes things look a certain way, especially as, you know, black people, minorities trying to be successful in the industry, and now we're being defined by that, you know, specific thing. Like, I just don't like that. So it's kind of a bad look. And I also want to bring up one other thing before I get Ed's take on this. Shouts to Gaming Illuminati again. Like, I listen to a lot of their content, so shouts to them. And you know, I remember Ethos said that he actually wanted to contact Soldier Boy because he believes that Soldier Boy's his intentions are true and honest, and you know that he just needs some consulting basically on what's right and what's wrong and what's the right model to follow. And you know, he actually legit wanted to be a consultant to him and to help guide him and steer him in the right direction of what he should be doing. But Soldier Boy then went on a rant on Twitter, and you know that's where he made those he made derogatory statements towards, you know, gay people and Nintendo and a bunch of people. And you know, at that point, that was when Ethos was like, okay, I can't mess with this dude anymore. So like, I want nothing to do with him. So it's like, you know, Soldier Boy is just he's ruining himself. Like he's just self-destructing in front of us by, you know, just by being so blatantly ignorant and not wanting to understand what people are saying, and to not want to accept help and consulting. And it's just going to make him look worse and worse. And the sad thing is that it would be great to see musicians and rappers invest in the gaming industry, but it just has to be done the right way. And I don't like Drake. I'm not a Drake fan, but he did start an esports team. Like he invested in an esports team, and that's not highly publicized because he's not, making a mockery of himself in front of everyone. So that sort of thing is the right way to go about it. Like making moves like that, investing in esports teams because esports is the new wave of gaming, kind of. So yeah, like you should be doing things like that and not selling knockoff Chinese products, basically. So yeah, it's Soulja Boy just makes everyone look bad right now, is basically what I want to say. But go ahead. I see we got a new panelist here.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what's going on.
Hello. Sorry, I just hanging about. I just got an invite and then now I'm here.
Wait, yeah. So Gary, where's the introduction here? You're supposed to give an introduction where you said we have a new panelist.
Wait. Who is this? Is this Soulja Boy's PR person or what? Like, I don't know what's going on.
Do I just do his accent? Drake. Well,
No, this is Ramiz Quadri. So we've had him on the show before. So this is my friend in real life. He's also done work with the Koalition. He made our logo, and he's a cool dude basically. And he just launched a website as well. He's a graphic designer. So ramizquadri.com. Go check that out. So Ramiz, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for the little mini random promo. That's my job done, and I guess because I think that's why I'm mostly here.
Oh, so you're leaving now?
Yeah, I'm
You're
out.
bouncing?
I'm back.
Okay.
No, I'm staying on. It's all good.
So what are you guys' thoughts on the Soulja Boy situation? I know Ed was going to say something, so go ahead, Ed.
All I gotta say is I think Soulja Boy is a hustler, man, and you can't knock the hustle. Why are we acting like there's not already a bunch of counterfeit game consoles out there? Back when I went to Mexico, I played the Polystation 2. I played the Mega Joy 64 because people in poor countries, they can't afford a PlayStation. They can't afford, all these new consoles. They're expensive in other countries. So, like, why are we hating on him just because he did some counterfeit shit that everybody else does? Like, so, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about the racism stuff that Gary mentioned about people making it about race because he's, a black guy doing this. But, like, I'm going to put Gary and Rich in my crossfire because you two let PewDiePie say the N-word on the stream.
We let
nothing.
Whoa.
I didn't see no post on the Koalition outrage or canceling PewDiePie.
Wait, hold on.
That man got away with
like,
it.
do we look like YouTube to you? Like, I don't know.
Nah, but that was your opportunity to stand up for the black gamer. And nobody took it.
We discussed
and
that,
this
though.
This man got away with it.
We talked about that on the show, though.
Man, I didn't do enough, man. That motherfucker's YouTube page should have been canceled.
What, by us?
By YouTube. But your voice could have been louder and it could have made an impact. And nobody did nothing. And y'all let this little fucker stay on here. He's corny as shit. All the YouTubers are corny as fuck.
Whoa. Ouch. So Ed trying to start a war with all these other people.
Man, fuck Logan Paul.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Whoa.
okay.
Whoa.
And he's talking that shit right now. But no, like, okay, going back to what you said about Soulja Boy and there's other bootlegs out there and stuff. Okay, yeah. There's other bootleg products being sold out there. The thing I'm talking about with Soulja Boy is the fact that he's blatantly lying. Like, he's telling people it's official, it's legit, he has licenses, and he does not. Like, that's the biggest violation here, I think. Like, you're you're tricking people into buying this. And also, he was on his Instagram live trying to take donations for it. Like why do you need to take donations from people
But
for it?
like, I think I can give him a pass because I mean, Soulja Boy was like one of the first rappers to be out there on the video game, front. Like this man used to like post his gamer tag, and he had a whole clan on Xbox, the SOD, whatever the hell that shit was, and he used to be on like Xbox Live a lot. I mean, he probably still is, but his voice, his star power hasn't been what it was, but he was always like a huge hardcore gamer. So, like, he wants to do right. He's probably just not doing it the right way. But
And that's why he needs to partner up with people who know what they're doing and not just buy
but I think
knockoffs.
I think people are making it a bigger deal than it really is. Like
He's making it a bigger deal. Like he's the one that's going on the Breakfast Club.
no,
Like
but he's just saying that he made $1 million off the consoles. Like he's just stunting.
he shouldn't be stunting because at the end of the day, he's infringing on properties that Nintendo owns, Sony owns. Like you,
Bruh,
you're
why are
not
you
supposed
acting like you don't know
like if
who
you're
Regu is?
committing a crime, you're not supposed to like advertise it and make the block hot. Like you're not supposed to like go outside the police station and broadcast that you're selling dope. Like you know,
But don't rappers do that?
6ix9ine did it. I guess I don't know.
I don't know, man. Soldier Boy, I'm with him.
Like I'm not denying that Soulja Boy is a real gamer. He definitely is because I remember Coalition has been going 10 years, and around the time we first started, I remember we used to actually cover Soulja Boy a lot because he would do things with gaming, like he would have Madden tournaments, and like you said, he had his own team or whatever. Like I'm not denying he's a gamer. He's been at E3 like while we've been there, so we know
Yeah,
this guy is a gamer and he wants to be in the industry. I'm just saying like there's smart ways to go about this. There's official channels that you can go through to make something happen. Where like he
Yeah,
just went on AliExpress and he hit up these bootleg manufacturers and he's drop shipping basically like that, and he's making it seem like it's official when it's not. Like he's out here saying I made my own gaming console like he's gonna be at E3 like at a press conference or something like that. That's all I'm saying. Like he should be moving differently.
Coalition console coming
Yeah,
soon
yeah. 2019, that's coming.
yeah, 2021.
We're just getting
with
all the
nothing but Xbox games though.
we're getting all the licenses in order right now.
Yeah, well, I just want to say I don't know if Ramis has anything to say on this. I'm gonna make a quick comment before Ramis and just say I mean right now when he did the interview to me it wasn't really about the gaming stuff. Everybody is talking about the beef that he supposedly has with all these other rappers and the fact that he just called them out. And that was the entertainment stuff because everybody likes drama. They like the spectacle of somebody starting up something. This is what happened last year with Drake and Pusha T. So that's really all people are talking about. Why he was trending on Twitter the other day for these reasons, pretty much. But I agree with what you had to say, Gary. That in terms of the gaming stuff, he definitely could have went to sought out the right way to go about this stuff. I don't think it was a wise decision to do what he did, but again, I guess he does want to do something with the gaming industry, so I guess he figured he would try to take whatever way he could take to put it out there. But the fact that, again, he said in that interview, people have been buying this, that's something that I obviously would need to see documented proof of because I didn't see anything in that interview to let me know, oh, people are actually buying this product. But if it is in fact true that people are buying it, I think that's interesting that there is a fan base out there that actually wants to get behind this, even though it is not a legit, it's not something that he actually owns. So
Yeah, you know what's funny? Like, he keeps showing these fake screenshots. Like, he was on Instagram Live trying to show everyone that he's made like tons of money, and there was a screenshot, right, that said he made $200,000 like in the last day, and it said the number of orders was seven. So like he sold seven products and made $200,000. Like, how is that possible when he's selling the consoles for like was it like $100, $200?
It's 149 for the console and 100 for the handheld.
So he sold seven of those and made 200,000. Like, that doesn't make sense.
It definitely doesn't make sense. Now you say that. But no, go ahead, Ramis. Did you have anything to say on this particular topic?
I don't know. They're all ridiculous, aren't they? I don't know. I kind of see one part of it where it's just like, who cares? And then another part is just like, yeah, he's just an idiot, in my opinion. But I kind of agree with Ed. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of people are just kind of like hustling at this point. And yeah, I mean, all the rappers are kind of doing like ridiculous things and everything. Like, you've got, I think it's Game or Chris Brown or one of them. They like constantly steal photos of other people's accounts and then make it their own and attach like a inspiring quote or some rubbish or saying they're hustling when it's not even them in the photos or their photos to begin with on Instagram. And you know, they're getting like the millions of likes and stuff, and that's just taking out of other people's accounts. Soulja Boy's kind of done the same with the gaming console, and it's weird. To me, it's just like a Raspberry Pi. I think it is just a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, and I think the gaming companies who kind of call him out or, you know, sanction him or whatever, they only done it because of people complaining about it, like taking it a bit too serious and over the top. And it's like, who's gonna buy Super Mario Brothers again? Like, pay money for that? Like, it's an old game.
You'll be surprised.
Like
70% of the Nintendo Switch owners will buy it again.
I mean, I haven't. I'm perfectly fine to move on from that.
You're in the 30%.
Oh, well, there we go. It's just weird. Like, just move on. You know, like, don't take it too seriously. Who's gonna buy? Why get over the top about a console playing like a really old game? I mean, the classics, sure, fine, but you know, it's just weird. I mean, do I admit that I've got a Raspberry Pi and that I've got a Mario game on there? Am I going to now get called out by Nintendo or things like that? I don't know.
But that's my thing. Like, you're not going on the Breakfast Club or the Co-op podcast even and saying, you know, like, oh, I make all this money. Like, I got all these orders and stuff. Like, you're not blowing it up, you know. Like,
yeah, well, that's the kind of a stupid side coming into it, then, really, isn't it? So I can't really speak on him for that. That's just Soulja Boy. He's just done a lot of stupid things, and that's just him, really. But at the same time, I think a lot of people blow it out of proportion. That, you know, oh, he's got all these games, and how dare he? You know, has he got license for them? Blah blah blah. This that. Like, who cares? They're old. Who cares? Saying that, the console looks crap. And the only people I see ever buying it are just like people who review it on YouTube afterwards and then just slate the heck out of that console anyway. So I don't know who's wasting their money or time most.
And then that's what I wanted to bring up next as well. Because, yes, Soulja Boy, you know, like he's doing some wrong. But also, I got a message for all these YouTubers out there. Like, so we all know that these YouTubers will do anything for views. So there's a whole bunch of them right now that are buying the Soulja game system just so they can review it for views. Like, and those people are adding to the problem right now. Like, so, you know, to all those people, like, I mean, it was a slow content week or something. Like, you can't figure out some other content to make.
Whoa! Shots fired by Gary. Damn. Where's this
The
coming from?
but that's true. I agree with that as well. It's just like at the end of the day, Soldier Boy is kind of making money out of them, unless he's giving that console away for free, which I really, really doubt because yeah, again, it's $150. Yeah, no, I agree totally with that. At the end of the day, they're just making Soldier Boy kind of prove his point that I mean, you go on his website and you see all the counterfeit stuff he's got. Anyways, he's got his own version of a Apple Watch, an Android Watch, like fake shoes as well and stuff like that. That's just how he's done it, and God knows where his fans are coming from and like buying these things. But yeah, he's just pumping out all the fake products, isn't
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I will just make this comment, and this is not meant to take a shot at someone else, but I guess if it is seen as a shot, then it is what it is. If that his system does have 800 games on it, that still sounds like a better value than that PlayStation Classic that Gary said is a horrible, horrible console. So
Well,
yeah.
I don't know if I said those words, but yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of the PlayStation Classic,
it? Seems like
you know,
no one is. Like I really don't understand even the hate on that thing either. Is it because of the games?
Yeah, I think the
eh,
people complain about the games that they included in that system. That
But
was what the
then, but then people know you could hack it. Did they
yeah.
get it got hacked a week later? So what's everyone fucking complaining about? Like,
because why spend like 90 or $90 or pounds or whatever to buy that and then hack it when you can just get those games anyway, like
on a Raspberry Pi.
without spending 90. So
Well,
that's my point.
It's the same thing with Soldier Boy's console, I guess, isn't it? Why buy that when you can just build a Raspberry Pi?
Exactly.
Because essentially these consoles are just that. But you
exactly.
know, it's just the name, it's the collection, it's kind of all that whole weird fetish thing for just owning a tiny, and it looks cute, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? The console, PlayStation Classic, that is. I don't know what Soldier Boy's console looks
I
like.
mean,
Just,
like if people are buying it for their collection or you know just to display or something, I can understand that. But
Yeah.
I just feel like the selection of the games on that thing, like the games that are built in, are you know it's a poor selection. So
Yeah.
yeah, fair enough. I can agree. But again, if you know you could hack it, then I guess that wouldn't necessarily be a viable complaint. That's just me, though. I don't know. I haven't bought it myself, so I can't really defend it too much.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know, Gary. I know. Well, I know. After this discussion, Gary's definitely going to find a way to pick up that Soldier Boy console for sure.
yeah,
So,
I'm gonna cut one to review it on the channel. So
yeah, we'll see. But we'll see what happens with that situation. But any other thoughts
oh no,
before we?
we spent way too long talking about Soldier Boy.
Oh yeah, okay, good. That's good. So we can tell them that we can move on now. Yeah,
Oh, I
let's
do
tell
want
them
to
to move
say
on.
like I'm not hating on Soldier Boy as a person. Like I respect that he's passionate about gaming, and you know I respect his original hustle, like how he broke out to become like the artist he is, like because it was all independent and stuff. So I respect that, but it's just the way he's carrying himself with regards to this specific thing that I'm not a fan of. So I just want to say that.
Hmm. Okay, sure, fair enough. That sounds good to me. So let's move on to the next topic. Um, this is another fun topic, and I'm pretty sure I'm very curious to know what all of you have to say about this. We finally got the first teaser trailer for Spider-Man. I believe it's Far From Home, which is a sequel to Homecoming. I know that this is a trailer that was originally supposed to release shortly after they released the trailer for Infinity, Avengers Endgame, but they delayed it, I guess, for whatever reason. But obviously, after seeing this trailer, I mean, we saw a lot in this trailer, so I think I'm gonna go to you first, Ed, and get your initial thoughts when you saw this trailer. If you have anything to say about it, are you looking forward to the movie, or was you not impressed by anything that you saw in the trailer?
I'm always looking forward to the movie because my favorite character. Um, but it just looked like they were doing or trying too much in this trailer. I got a glimpse of at least maybe I counted two enemies for certain, and then we see Mysterio, and the fact that they didn't even make it secretive, like they just straight up showed us Mysterio, hey, without the mask or nothing. It was just like I don't know what they're going for with this uh, film, but I did like that it's a change of the setting. They're in Europe now, and but I'm just questioning a lot of things about this trailer. I know one of the big questions is when does it take place? Is it before or after Avengers Endgame? And I think I saw in our chat that a movie takes place after Endgame. And I mean, I guess we all know that all those characters that died in Avengers are going to come back, but it is kind of odd to see a trailer, you know, that takes place after that movie. Um, it kind of does spoil it, but not really. It's just odd. I don't know.
I um I agree with that, and I was curious, what was the rush to release this trailer now, because Avengers Endgame is out in April. This movie ain't coming out until July, so they could have held off on showing this at a later time. But I guess to generate buzz and excitement behind the movie, they wanted to just drop the trailer early. So, but that was the first thing that I saw, and I know that Kevin Feige has said that this takes place. This is the first movie after Endgame, so I assume when he said that meant that it does take place after Endgame. But there are a lot of clues in that trailer that would have you suggest, well, something possibly happened to Tony Stark, because they make reference to, oh yeah, it's just you now. It's all about you right now. So I was confused about that. Um, of course, one thing I always say is I don't like when a trailer shows too much. I mean, I didn't know that Nick Fury was going to be in this movie, so that was a surprise to me, because that was something I wasn't expecting. But I do wish they held back on some stuff. At the same time, they didn't reveal every detail about what you can expect from the film, because at least from what I understand, we still don't know who the villains are. We saw the creatures as they had shown in the trailer, but we don't know anything about that. And I would assume that Mysterio is going to turn into a bad guy in this movie as well. I would assume that, but I don't know for sure. And I do know that um, what's his name, who played in the last movie, the villain from the last movie, Michael Keaton. I do know that he is also casted for this movie as well. So obviously he's still in jail, but maybe he has something to do with what happens, later on in other movies. I have no idea, but yeah, there's a lot of questions that still remain to be answered. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how everything pans out. But yeah, as for Endgame, I knew a lot of those characters were coming back anyway, because I already had heard that they have already started working on Black Panther 2. So that isn't really a surprise. We knew this Spider-Man movie was coming also, but still they have to explain what's going on with all the other characters, how it gets to this point, and then who doesn't actually survive in game. Because I'm pretty sure some people are definitely not going to survive the next movie, but we have to wait and see how that all pans out. Um, so I want to go to Ramis next. Let's get his thoughts on this trailer, because I know he catches a lot of other stuff that we might have missed.
um, where do I start? I don't know. I guess the trailer was cool. I think there was 3 bad guys, maybe 4, maybe 4.5. I don't know. So you had Sandman, Hydra Man, the Fire one, Something Man, and I don't know if there was like another element in there, or if it was
I
just
like something, man.
Something man. I can't think of his name. I don't know who Fireman is.
well,
Fireman.
well, well, hold on. Now you said four. Are you suggesting the Fantastic Four is in this movie?
No. um. Yeah, I don't know because it just looked like it was all element types of things, but then you had kind of like maybe it was Sandman. Who knows? Uh, maybe
You know
again.
what? I just figured it out. It's Mysterio.
Yeah, that's
There
what I
you
was gonna
go.
say. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
I was
I
gonna
was,
build to
I was gonna
that.
say like,
Oh, my bad.
No, my theory would be that Mysterio is a bad guy in the end of it all, but he's kind of like the one bringing up these elements. Like he's the one kind of doing this for show, basically. Because I believe in like the Ultimate Comics, he was kind of like just this rundown actor or something. That was his character. I can't remember too much of it, but yeah, I think there's kind of going to be like similar vibes to that in the sense that Mysterio is kind of the one that's bringing all these bad guys and monsters up in the first place because it's like a show to him. He's Mysterio. He's like the street act, isn't he? Sort of
Mhm.
thing. So that's my theory on it. So that ultimately Mysterio is the bad guy in the end. But what we see in the trailer, I think it's like, yeah, there were like elemental monsters to it, and I think Sandman, that's their representation of it. Hydra Man's there. Uh, Something Man, who's now the Fire One, that's what we're going to name him. And I don't know if there was a fourth one, I can remember, but yeah, ultimately I think Mysterio is the bad guy in it. Yeah, the trailer shows quite a bit because that's just how Sony like to run their trailers. They just want to give everything away straight away. um, I don't think. Yeah, I think it was. I don't know how long it was announced, but I read that Kevin Feige said that this movie is after Endgame, which to me makes sense. It's kind of weird to picture this movie before Infinity War. It just doesn't fit anywhere in the timeline, or it would just seem a bit rushed that, okay, Spider-Man just did this against the Vulture, and now straight away he's going abroad. Like, doesn't work that way. I think it makes more sense that, like, it's after Endgame, these characters are coming back alive in some form of way, or it's an alternate universe. Maybe there's some time travel that involves an Endgame, and it involves to a point where they ditch this universe that we're supposedly used to watching, and it's a new one. Because after all, the next phases are meant to be all about cosmic and everything.
Mm.
So who knows? But yeah, I think it makes more sense that it's after Endgame. And if anyone believes that Endgame is spoiled, then there's just no point imagining an Avengers movie, but everyone dies in it or stays dead. So, you're silly to think that. But in the other hand, I think basically the characters that are alive at the end of Infinity War, they're going to die in Endgame, and everyone else comes back to life, per se. Apart from Ant-Man. Ant-Man will live because he's just there by accident. That's
Yeah.
That's what I got to say.
That sounds good. Yes. All right, Gary, you had some thoughts that you wanted to say as well.
yeah. I mean, Ramiz pretty much touched on everything. I wanted to say about the actual trailer and my thoughts on the movie and everything. So instead, I'm going to talk about this whole thing about them releasing the trailer before Endgame and all that. Now, no, like people like us, like we're knowledgeable about comics, Marvel, these movies, and everything. We know what's going on behind the scenes and everything like that. But the the general audience, not everyone knows. Like, so for example, like over the holidays, I saw my niece, and she was like legit like up in arms over Infinity War because she'd seen it, and she knows I'm into like comic book stuff, so she wanted to talk about it with me, and she was like, "How could they kill everyone? Yada yada yada. Like, why is everyone dead? They just had Black Panther, and now he's dead. Like, there's people there's people who don't know the lore of Marvel and stuff, and they legit think these characters are dead. And I feel like stuff like this ruins it for them. I mean, obviously we know because, we're nerds and we follow this stuff. But there's a lot of people out there who don't know anything. Like, I had literally the same conversation with my cousins in New York as well when I saw them. And there's a lot of people who I've spoke to who don't know the lore and are not that knowledgeable, but they follow Infinity War and the big Marvel movies, and they're shocked that all these characters died, and they don't know if they're coming back. So for them, it kind of ruins it, I think, and it confuses them even more because like seeing the Spider-Man trailer, like now these people are coming to me like, why is there a Spider-Man movie? Like, why is Spider-Man back? Like, so I think it confuses it for them and kind of spoils the experience for them, I guess, in learning what's actually going to happen. But for us, I mean, we already knew. They were like, we know that there's going to be another Black Panther, another Spider-Man. Like, we know, so for us, it's no big deal. Cool Spider-Man trailer, but for people like that, it's just going to confuse them. So I would say that. But also, on the other side of it, this is Sony. Like, I think this was Sony's decision to release the trailer, and Marvel perhaps didn't have full control over when this trailer dropped. So maybe that ties into it as well, I would have liked to have. What I really would have liked is if, we go and see Endgame, and then this trailer shows for the very first time after Endgame. Like, that would have been perfect if they did that. But obviously this is a business. People want to make money. They want to get people excited. They want to get people talking. So there you have it. So can't complain too much, but it is it is a little sad for those people who are really who are really kind of grabbed and touched by the Infinity War ending, who didn't know any better, so sucks for them, I guess, but hey, it's business. So, and I'm excited to see Spider-Man in a new environment as well in London, so that should be cool.
So I have to say I look forward to seeing Gary, Ramis, and Carl in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh yeah, we're extras.
I'm in the London Eye. I actually get blown up, so and I don't get accused for it. So that's something,
Yeah, I definitely want to see that. And one final question I have to ask, and this is a question for Gary and Ramis. Do you believe that there will be any Brexit jokes in this particular movie?
Brexit?
Yeah.
Brexit? Yeah. I mean, I guess it would be funny, but I mean, British people are tired of hearing the word Brexit at this point, so I mean,
by that point it will get implemented anyways, so who knows. So it'll be kind of outdated at that point. If anything, it'll probably piss everyone off for the fact that they're just bringing up this Brexit joke just to remind us that the country's a bit screwed.
Yeah, that's an outrage waiting to happen, so I doubt they'll do it, to be honest.
But I kind of agree with it's a little sad now that you told that story. Thanks a lot, Gary, that people are genuinely upset and hurt that they ruined the surprise. But yeah, I mean, what I know of is Sony is in charge of like all the promotion stuff, aren't they? They're in charge of like
the trailers and
all the media
stuff.
Marketing stuff. Yeah. So I guess it's in their eyes. They're just like they just want to pump it out now, and they just want to like throw everything because they're so excited that this movie's going to do so well, blah blah blah, and all that. Because you think about it, like the knowledge we know, Spider-Man was just signed, to make appearances in Marvel movies, and these movies are kind of made pretty quickly as well, if you think about it as well, because like Homecoming was made like a year after they announced that, he's going to appear in Civil War and stuff.
Mhm.
And then you had him in Civil War, and then Spider-Man had his own movie suddenly. And then you got another movie again. So I think if it was in Marvel's hands fully, they probably wouldn't have done that, or the movie would have come out like later in the year rather than a summer movie.
Mm.
And again, he technically wasn't really in the plans anyways. Like Black Panther was, what I heard anyways, was meant to be that role where, he's going to be the one loved just as much as Spider-Man is. I mean, he is right now, and definitely, and rightfully so. But he was going to be that role where he's the character they're looking towards to and stuff, and instead of Spider-Man. But obviously, you can't not think Marvel and Spider-Man separate. They have to be together. But yeah, that's just Sony for you again. just blaming them with their marketing skills.
Yeah, because that was the original deal that there had to be a Spider-Man movie like every 2 years or something, right? So I think
Fair enough, yeah.
they're sticking with that, even though Marvel is now doing the movie. But yeah, I think that's still in place. But hopefully, I'm hoping in the future that Marvel Studios could just get the rights back, like overall, so that they can do their own vision fully for the character and stuff. So
I think they will. I think it more or less is in their hands. It's just one of those things where Sony just feel like, they're getting all the praise for it and doing it, but Marvel are just really like, yeah, look, step aside. And then they're just kind of like grabbing this big hand over Spider-Man and just be like, come walk with us for a second,
yeah, carry on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, like because I really get the impression that Sony, the movie studio, like they're really trying to feed off of the hype of the MCU, like even rushing out the Venom film and stuff, and they want to tie it into the MCU, and even with this trailer, I feel like they wanted to rush it out to capitalize on the hype of Endgame, because obviously they was originally gonna release it the day after the Endgame trailer, but I'm guessing, like, this isn't fact, but I'm guessing that MCU probably wanted a bit more space between the trailers so that the Endgame trailer can kind of have its space, so people could process it and stuff. And Sony just wanted to. I feel like they just want to piggyback right off of what the MCU is doing, even though they're collaborating with them. And it just kind of makes them look a bit forceful.
I mean, they got like a really weird name for their Marvel Cinematic Universe, don't they? Sony. They came up with some really weird one based around the Spider-Man lore, well, the Spider-Man rights that they have and stuff. And I guess they're just trying to really hype that up, and like the only way they can do that really is with Spider-Man. But Spider-Man's doing so well with Marvel's hands. Once it goes back to Sony, is Tom Holland still going to be Spider-Man then? Are they just going to reboot it all over again? And then you got Morbius coming out, the next Venom movie coming out with whatever happened in that movie. I didn't even see it. You got Black Cat, Silver Sable, Aunt May is probably going to have her own. Oh no, they can't even do Aunt May, can they? Because Aunt May's in the Spider-Man movies.
Don't put it past Sony. They'll
Well, do you remember they were going to do a movie about Aunt May as an international spy or something? Yeah. So
they probably still would do it, even though Aunt May is in the MCU. Like they're
gonna use Uncle Ben. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be Uncle Ben, like in his past, sort of thing. There'll be a shot of like a wrinkled old hand looking at a photo frame of Uncle Ben, and he's like, "I remember the first time I met him," and then it's gonna go like flashback. And it's going to be this guy with a sick moustache and just doing some like super spy stuff. That's how it's going to be.
That would be terrible. But you see like how with DC, there's like 3 movies with the Joker in production or something. Like, I wouldn't put it past Sony to like be using the same characters that Marvel were trying to use in the Spider-Man movies, like just making separate side movies. Like, I bet they would do stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't blame them, to be fairly honest. It's just the fact that, to me, they can't do it well. That's the thing. You put it into Marvel's hands in their creativity, and look how well they've just made Spider-Man already. And give them, like, the rights to Spider-Man to, like, use Venom and all them a lot, and just watch them do, like, really good things because it's their character, it's their stories. Sony, on the other hand, they're just pumping out anything that they can, and it's just like, yeah, okay. But it's still doing well. Venom, a lot of people surprisingly liked it because it's one of those movies. It's just a dumb, fun movie, it turns out, and I think now they're probably going to catch on to that sort of chemistry sort of thing. Like, they're going to catch on to that idea that, oh, we need to make more of these dumb, fun movies because people are actually watching them. So, I don't know. I can see both sides. It's like Sony just wanna join in the party, but at the same time, it's like just stand over there. One of those things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, absolutely. So, any other thoughts on the Spider-Man trailer before we move on to the next topic?
Mysterio's a bad guy. That's all I'm thinking. He has to be.
Yeah, he definitely has to be. I agree with that. All right, so let's move on to the next topic. Jumping back over to the gaming side. Yesterday, we saw a Mortal Kombat 11 reveal event that took place in Los Angeles, California. Was live streamed on Twitch and pretty much everywhere. So I know pretty much a few of us saw that event in its entirety. I know Ed for sure saw it in its entirety. So I wanted to get you guys' opinions on what you've seen so far of the game, whether or not you like what you see, are you disappointed? Do you think that there was some stuff that they should have talked about at that reveal event? And I'm going to go to Ed first because I know we were very vocal back and forth about this event. So Ed, what were your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal event?
I think overall, Mortal Kombat 11 looks really good. I was talking to my brother about it. I didn't really play too much Injustice 2, but he was telling me that, in the MK11, they're doing the whole, customize the fighter however you want.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that a lot of those elements were a part of Injustice 2. Of how you can, change their outfits and stuff like that. And so I guess they learn from every game and they try to implement those things into their next game. And I guess they're following suit with this. And I know Gary mentioned it in the chat, and it's exactly what I thought as soon as I saw that customization stuff. It's like, oh, okay, cosmetic transactions, they're microtransactions. I can already tell that a lot of those little pieces is going to take a long time to unlock in the game, and somehow they're gonna make it. Hey, give us $5 and you get 1,000 combat coins or something. Like, so I already see that happening. But like I said, overall the game looks fantastic. I'm liking the way the characters look. The action looks really good. Um, and the fatalities, they're super bloody. And so far, every fatality looks really great. And I really like how they slow it down during the fatalities, to really showcase the goreness of it. Um, so yeah, MK11 looks really cool. I didn't come out of there thinking like, oh my god, this shit's incredible, but it just kind of looks like we know these games already. As long as they keep making those improvements, it's cool. It's cool to see. But I don't think I can be blown away by MK anymore. Just because, not in a bad way, but just because it's MK.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I totally understand that. Now, one final question I want to ask you before I move on to Ramis and Gary: Are there any fighters that you want to see make a return for Mortal Kombat 11?
Uh, Mocap. I don't know if y'all
Well,
remember that character. Y'all probably don't. It was a joke character, but I'm just bullshitting. But now, I'd like to see Cabal.
oh yeah,
Um, that's probably the only guy I care about.
okay, sounds good. Okay, so I'm gonna go to you next, Gary, because I know that you saw some of this event. You've had some reactions. What were your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal event?
Oh yeah, I saw the whole thing. And it was a nice length too. Like I thought it was gonna be like way too long and it would drag on and there'd be boring parts, but no, it was really quick and smooth. So that's good. The game looks great, and I didn't expect anything less from NetherRealms. They do a great job with the Mortal Kombat games and Injustice as well. Um, and it's as gory as ever. They have some creative fatalities in there. And yeah, like Ed said, with the cosmetics, that was a huge standout thing to me because it's like, okay, microtransactions, cosmetics, and stuff. I mean, as long as it's just cosmetics, it doesn't affect me personally because I'm not going to buy it anyway. So it's like whatever. But I mean, I guess it is cool to some degree in a fighting game to be able to customize the fighter's appearance and things like that. I'm just really wary that the cosmetic pieces will enhance their skills in the actual combat, and I'm hoping that's not the case. I don't think that's the case,
No,
but
I don't believe that is because it wasn't like that for Injustice too.
okay.
Well,
It,
I actually think it is because when they were going through that stuff, you can see that you can add like little boosters to the armor and stuff. So
hmm, yeah.
I believe it might be, but I don't quote me on that.
I mean, if that's the case, then that's when it gets weird and questionable. But if it's just a cosmetic level, fine, cool. But if they're adding like boosters and things like that, then that's very questionable right there. Um, what was you gonna say, Rich?
Oh no, I just was going to say, yeah, there's some of those questions they still have to answer. All I was going to say is that as far as the cosmetic stuff is concerned, that was a real big deal in Injustice 2. But Injustice 2, if neither of you have played through that campaign, I would strongly recommend that you check out that game because one of the things I love about Injustice 2 is that yes, it did have a storyline, but there were branching differences with that storyline, and you could if you make a choice with a particular character, it definitely impacts the story, and there were some multiple endings in there as well. So I do hope that they do take that direction with Mortal Kombat 11 because it definitely does provide extra replay value on top of the multiplayer and all the other stuff that they're going to do. But it was a fantastic game. I mean, I really enjoyed Injustice 2 a lot. So this game is probably going to be just as great.
Yeah, I shouts to Carl. He actually got me Injustice 2 for my birthday. I need to actually play it.
Oh, okay.
So so
So
yeah.
so he so he got you that game so he could whoop you in it. Then I'm assuming that's why he did that.
Yeah, probably because I already know I'm gonna suck in that. But and Rams usually cleans us all up. Like he bodies us all the time on that
So
game.
yeah,
So
I was gonna sneak in a sly little dig, but never mind. I was gonna say stuff like, "Oh, don't worry, I beat both their asses," but no,
there you go. There you have it.
nah.
But yeah, going back to more combat. The Ronda Rousey reveal that was it was cool. Like Richard actually told me about that before it happened. Like I didn't know it was before the show. I didn't know that was gonna happen, but Rich told me, so I knew to expect it, I guess. But I mean, it's cool that they're having celebrities voice the characters and be involved with the characters and stuff. And her as Sonya Blade makes sense. So I mean, I guess that's cool. I guess
You
and
know,
yeah.
I
I
just
just.
wish they would have got somebody better.
Whoa! I thought you was a Ronda fan, Ed.
Nah, I don't respect the woman who got knocked out twice and doesn't like come back. And instead,
Well, I only knew about that because that was a rumor that was going to get announced, and then I saw when I was watching the stream yesterday, there were people in that same stream that was already saying, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to see Ronda." So somehow that information was out there early. That's the only reason I knew about that. But then I know Ronda Rousey actually lives in Los Angeles, California. You know, she hasn't really. I mean, she has been wrestling in WWE for a little while, but she practices for a long period of time in between the times that she's actually there. So I figured she had some other projects she was working on. I just didn't know this is what she was working on. But to each his own. Just congratulations to her. And they one thing they did make clear in that presentation is that they said there are a ton of other athletes that are also voicing other characters. So I'm assuming that they will reveal those other athletes at a later time. But I have no idea who they actually are.
Yo, where's 21 Savage though, man?
Oh well, he probably will be in there since he's doing the soundtrack for the game. He probably
21 Savage as Jax.
Yeah, that's possible. We'll have to wait and see. But a quick question for you, Gary. Then I'm going to go to Ramis. Are there any particular characters that you want to see return from Mortal Kombat 11?
Oh yeah, Melina, man. I need to see Melina in that game.
Oh yeah.
That's my go-to.
Since you mentioned Melina, I'm gonna give a shout out to Zelina Vega because she was dressed up as Jade yesterday, and yeah, she looked fantastic in that outfit. So I gotta give a shout out to that.
Yeah, shouts to her.
Yeah, so we'll see about Melina to be determined. But I would assume since they're messing around with the timelines and they kept mentioning that it's going to be certain characters that will face their younger selves, so on and so forth, I would assume that they may have her return as well as some other characters. So we'll just have to wait and see who it is. But yeah, to be determined. So now I'm going to go to you, Ramis. Do you have any thoughts on the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal?
I mean, I didn't watch it, so you know.
No,
not in a bad way. I mean, I just saw some clips now whilst you guys were discussing it, and I saw that is it Geras? What's his name? Yeah, he looks nasty. He looks pretty decent.
I think that's a new character because there's some of those characters. Yeah, I think they did mention that's a new character for the game. They did. Yeah, Ed Boon said that in the presentation. So yeah, maybe so maybe he's replacing Jax because I didn't see Jax at all in the in any of that footage that they showed. So
no, you can't replace Jax.
I'm hoping that character select screen isn't like true because there was only like 24 slots. I counted them. And 24 slots for an MK game, that's a little bit.
Well, one thing that I do know that they are going to do because they did it with Injustice 2, all of those character skins, they were like the DLC. If I recall correctly, they had 9 additional character skins. So there's probably going to be at least 10 other characters that are in the game, if not more, unless of course they have a character pack DLC too. Because they did that before with Mortal Kombat, where they had another DLC after the one they released. So, but they're definitely going to have a hell of a lot more than 24, 25. That's for sure. But probably just character skins. I had to make. Well, say what?
From what I remember, it was like in Injustice 2, it was they added those extra like panels, didn't they, when a DLC character came out? So
yeah.
They had a few that were like in polygon form, so you didn't know who they were exactly. But then when they actually announced more DLC characters, they added a couple more extra slots. So I would assume Mortal Kombat will do the same. in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Going by like Injustice 2 and the influence that. Well, it just seems like Injustice games are just testers for the next Mortal Kombat game anyway. So, and then it inadvertently becomes a great game itself because I loved Injustice 2 as well. And it does have replay value. And talking about all those like transactions in regards to the additional things you can buy for your characters. I mean, they did that in Injustice 2 as well. So, kind of works, but it just depends how people are going to spend their money and stuff. So that's the one bit that will be intriguing, that will either kind of make it frustrating or better. But because in Injustice 2, you kind of had to earn it, and you earned it by playing those world map games, and then you get the bronze, the silver, the gold coins, and then you use that to spend on getting parts or characters or skins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So here, I don't know if it's just straight away like, oh, give me your credit card and we'll give you the best things ever. Who knows? But no, it looks good. It looks really good. That character, Geras, he looks insane. His fatalities just, yeah, it's quite extreme. But yeah, no, it looks cool. That's all I can say, really. It's another Mortal Kombat game. Can't complain.
Now, is there any characters that you want to see return, whether it's a character from a random character or a Mortal Kombat character?
I don't know. No, I don't really, not really fast. I think everyone's going to come back into it anyways. It'd be weird if they just leave some out. I'll say Goro, because he's just, yeah, it's just the first thing that comes into my head.
Oh, yeah.
There's not really any other. No, I'll go with Smoke. He's disappeared for a while. I haven't really seen him around. So
Smoke is good.
Cool. He's just kind of the template for everyone else to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
You don't want no smoke.
Yeah, there we go. That quote.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Definitely looking forward to seeing more from the game. April 23rd cannot come soon enough. So definitely looking forward to seeing what else they reveal over time. And I'm pretty sure they're going to slowly reveal other characters, because they did that, I believe, with Injustice 2 as well, where they revealed characters, over time. So we'll see how all that goes down. But any final thoughts before we move on to our final discussion for this evening? All right, so let me start out this discussion by giving a shout out to EA, because I know that they made news this week when they finally revealed that they canceled the open world Star Wars game that Amy Hennig was working on in the past, but then she had left and Visceral was shut down. So I know Gary did say that that is one of many reasons why EA is one of the best companies out there, but pretty sure he was very sarcastic when he made that comment. So
Nah, I didn't say this.
Yes. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that very briefly. But
yeah,
we want to. Go ahead.
Just to piggyback off of that, yeah, like this is a bad look for EA once again. Like, and to me it seems like, okay, so you just want to make Battlefront games, you want to make Star Wars shooters, but you don't want to have like a story, RPG adventure kind of experience. Like, and I feel like that's the best type of game for Star Wars. Like, I'm tired of all these Star Wars shooters. Like, I don't want to play that. I want to play an adventure game or an RPG game. And to me, it just seems like EA doesn't want that, because they're doing everything to prevent it. And that's just sad, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree. I would like to hope that someone else is going to eventually get that Star Wars license and make a game of their own. I know we spoke about that in the past, about studios that will probably do a better job with a Star Wars license. So hopefully that does happen. In the meantime, I just hope that Respawn Entertainment is whatever they're working on with this Star Wars game, I'm very curious to see if that actually comes, actually gets completed, and I want to see how that turns out because they are working on that. That's actually supposed to be coming out this year, during the fall. So hopefully that doesn't get canceled. But we'll see what happens with EA and the Star Wars license. Um, yeah, but we want to have a discussion about the top three developer studios. We're all going to talk about our top three developer studios and why they are in our top three list. So I think we're going to go to Edward first because I have a good idea as to what one of his studios is, but let's hear him say, from his own perspective, what are the three developer studios that he enjoys the most and why?
Literally did not even think this through at all. So I'm gonna
Oh,
go off the rip.
okay.
All right, Rockstar Games is number one.
Oh, that's your
I
number
think
one?
Rockstar Games. Yeah,
Okay.
I should have probably gone 3-1, right?
Well, it's okay. It's whatever format you want to take it.
All right, let me go with number three. Number three is we're going all time, right, or current?
That's a good question,
Um,
Gary.
mine was like I was saying current, like right now, kind of thing.
Mm. All right,
Well,
well, I'm gonna change mine and I'm gonna do of all time.
Okay, well you can
All
go
right,
ahead.
of all time, number three is Bungie. Because they've given me some of my favorite games of all time. Halo 2, the Halo series, pretty much. So even though Bungie is what it is right now, and I don't really care for Destiny that much, but I do enjoy the games to an extent. I feel like they've always provide, in my opinion, a triple A title caliber game. They always make very high quality games. Whether they do it right or wrong, as far as Destiny goes, that's questionable. But you can see their intentions and you can see the quality of their games, and you know I applaud them for that. I guess number two would be Naughty Dog. I know that I'm the Sony hater, but Naughty Dog has, and I'm not too familiar with the beginning days of Naughty Dog. Like I've always wanted to play Jack and Daxter, never have, but I've always wanted to. They made that game, right? Jack and Daxter.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I always get that and Ratchet confused. But yeah, I always wanted to play Jack and Daxter. So my introduction to Naughty Dog games was actually Uncharted 2. I did not, and I still have never played Uncharted 1. I started with Uncharted 2, and that game's phenomenal. Then we got, Last of Us and Uncharted 3 and so on. And, right now we're all waiting for Last of Us 2. And I think I mentioned that game last week where I said, I believe I said that's the game of the year for this year, my prediction. Um, so yeah, that's why. And of course, my number one, I already spoiled it, is Rockstar Games. Guys, nobody makes a quality game to the extent of a Rockstar game. There is a reason they don't make games every other year or every year. They take at least 5, 6 years to make one. And that's because they are going to deliver a game on the highest fucking caliber that you can possibly think of. The biggest stories, the biggest, the most dialogue, just graphical, probably not a graphical achievement like, oh my God, but they always push the envelope. They always are the trendsetters with every game that they make. And just, they cannot be touched. They can't be beaten. They're just in a league of their own. The sales prove that. The hype behind their games prove that. They're the only developers, well, probably not the only ones, but I would bet that they're one of the developers of maybe two or three that can drop a game on any given day, and that shit would sell out. They probably don't even have to drop trailers. They just need to tell you, hey, Grand Theft Auto comes out on this day, and people will show up for that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'd be surprised if y'all didn't have Rockstar games on y'all's list.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I agree with that, and also to co-sign what you say. Not only are they the type of studio that can release a game on any day, but also the fact that there are other games that may also try to come out the same day, and then they find out, wait, Rockstar has a game coming out at that time. They don't even bother releasing the game that day, and they either push it backwards or forward. So yeah, that says a
Yeah,
lot.
you move the fuck out the way with Rockstar.
Absolutely.
That's like, the Big Show entering the Royal Rumble. Like, everybody's like, oh my God.
Yeah, the Big Show. Wait, I
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't know he still had fans, but that's a good one.
The Big Show always has fans.
Yeah, so I say that those are some great picks. Those are excellent picks. Um,
I'm
who
really surprised about Naughty Dog being on this list, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, that is surprising for sure.
To
For
be
sure.
honest, I couldn't think of nobody else.
Yeah, yeah. I'm funny that I am funny that is funny that's on the list because that's
Nah,
interesting.
on the real, they make really good games. Like, I won't ever hate on Naughty Dog. Like, I wish they did multi-platform.
Yeah, agreed. Interesting. Okay, so who wants to go next?
Um, I can go next. I don't mind.
Ram's
Yeah,
unmuted, so that means he goes next.
no. I was just gonna say you guys go next because I don't know what the topics are. I'm just kind of like thrown into this.
Oh
So
yeah, oh yeah.
The topic is name your top three
yeah, no.
studios.
Well, I know now, but because I joined
He's
in late,
Googling. He's at Wikipedia right
I
now.
am literally googling like, what do I like? Nah, I don't mind if I can go next or you can go, whichever one. I'm not
Yeah,
fussed.
I'll go.
All
So
right.
my list now, like when I originally wrote this topic, I wanted it to be like, the current studios, like active ones releasing games right now and stuff. And I wanted, us to judge by their latest releases and things like that. But I mean, you can do whatever list you want to do. So you can do all time or you can do current. I'm gonna do current. My all time list would be very, very different. I will say that. But
Uh-oh.
my current list. So my current list that I'm doing, I'm gonna go 3 to 1. So number three is Rockstar Games for me.
Oh,
Um,
whoa. Ooh. Wow. Number three on the list.
yep,
Damn.
yep. For similar reasons to Ed, they're always about quality. They take the time. They do their research. When they're making these big open world games, they fly to locations and take pictures, and they do a lot of groundwork and a lot of like you can see the attention to detail in all of their games, and there's minimal bugs and things like that. Like they're one of the studios that values quality, and they take their time to craft the perfect game. And you can't fault them. It's hard to hate on them. They make great games. And yeah, I mean, there's it's hard to think of a bad Rockstar game.
Mhm.
They're all good in their own way. So yeah, Rockstar games. And they just put out Red Dead Redemption 2, so and that's a great game. Me and Ed actually just recorded a discussion about that earlier. So yeah, Rockstar is my number three. My number two is Bungie, and yeah, that might surprise some people. Now, contrary to belief, I did own an Xbox 360 and I did play Halo Reach. I played Halo ODST. I played Halo, which one was it? 4. I've played 3 before as well, but just not to completion. So and of course, Destiny 1, Destiny 2. And I just really like their style of making games. Like I like I like the cosmetic style, the appearance, the aesthetics of their game, and I like, the grindy nature of their games and the way they structure their combat. Like, I think it's really well done. They have their own unique style. Like, they're not like other shooters. And they're just very original. And I still stand by it that the first Destiny was one of the most game changing games that came out this generation. Like, that set a standard in gaming. And I loved that game. It's sad that Destiny 2 didn't, live up to what the first game was. I do believe a lot of that is because of Activision, but yeah, Bungie, they're really good, and I really want to see what they do now that they've split ways with Activision, because I feel like they'll have a lot of control, creative control to do what they want and make the game that they want to make. So yeah, Bungie, I really appreciate their work. Even though, I might not be the biggest Halo fan, but I can still appreciate, you know, um, the game for what it is and stuff. So yeah, Bungie's my number two. And my number one, I don't know, this might be obvious to some. It's not Blizzard, so don't worry. It's actually CD Projekt, and next to Destiny, The Witcher 3 was probably one of the best games of this generation, in my opinion. Like, quality wise and from a technical standpoint, the game had so much content. That it had a lot of great stories. Gwent was amazing, which is like a completely side thing to do in the game, and I spent like 20 hours just doing Gwent. And then of course they made a separate game completely for Gwent. Um, and I loved The Witcher 2 as well. I didn't play with the first Witcher game fully, but I did, play enough of it to want The Witcher 2. And I really love The Witcher 2, and I just love the way that their games are, the freedom involved in them, the worlds they create, and the characters and just everything. And I've been watching a lot of videos about Cyberpunk, and I just can't wait for that game. Like, that's my most wanted game right now, Cyberpunk 2077. So yeah, CD Projekt. I like their attitude as a studio as well. We've met them on many occasions at E3. We've been invited to their press screenings and things like that, and they're just super cool. Like, they're a super cool company. They're all about quality. They're all about the gamers. They don't include microtransactions and things like that in their game. Like, they just give you the game, and they give you more content than what you asked for. So I just love their attitude and their approach. So CD Projekt is my number one. But honorable mention, Bungie. I mean, not Bungie, Blizzard, because I love Blizzard and I love everything they're doing. But the reason why they didn't make my list is because there's questionable things happening behind the scenes. So yeah, that's why they didn't make my list. But that's it.
All right, sorry about that. I had some technical issues here in the background, so my apologies. But that was a fantastic list, I have to say, Gary. That was excellent. Um, and yeah, you might have stole a thing or two from what I was going to say, but we'll see about that. Ramis, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I guess. I think I'm about to have like the worst selection here. Like, I'm just having
I
to
mean,
think about it more.
there is no worst. I mean, this is your personal list, so
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I'm like thinking about it now, and then I'm just thinking, well, these companies did do this, and then that just kind of like devalues every thought.
well,
But
first of all, is your list an all-time list or is it current?
see, I don't even know. It's kind of, I guess for now, all time.
Okay.
but it's going to change, and I guess they are kind of current at the moment as well.
Okay,
So
go for it.
number three, I'm gonna say Bethesda. Uh, I think they've grown on me a lot. I know recently Fallout 76 is just getting crapped on, but I haven't played that, so I don't know. But with all the other Fallout games, I've given them a go little by little, and I'm kind of enjoying them. They're really fun, and I kind of like the open world aspect of it. And the same is then for a game like Dishonored. I just went into that not really knowing much about it, and again enjoying that a lot more and more. And then there's Elder Scrolls as well. It's the same thing. It's a game that I wish I could dedicate time to because it's just so big and it takes so much to kind of just explore everything. And the characters are interesting, the story's interesting, and there's always the add-ons that they give to you as well without much to charge on and everything. So that's always great. So I kind of just like the elements that they are a quality company. They might not have much, but what they do provide is just it's just great, and I've always enjoyed it since. And this is quite recently as well, like starting to play Bethesda games a lot. They kind of are bugging me though a little bit with their E3 shows, like all the wooing people. It just seems very planted. But yeah, I'd say they're my third. Number two, probably I'd have to say, regretfully, BioWare. Uh, Again, I'm all about storytelling. I'm all about the heavy character developments and like the appreciation of. I see Rich laughing in the distance there. um,
Yeah, you said regretfully, so I had to laugh at that one.
well, considering like what's happening to them right now and stuff and everything, it's annoying. But pre EA, like the games were amazing. The storytelling that they had, the capabilities that they have to build on these worlds and games, Mass Effect being the prime example of everything. It was just awesome. And what they've done with Star Wars games, it's absolutely amazing. Knights of the Old Republic will remain one of my top 10 games. Um, that that especially got me into Star Wars properly, like wanting to understand the lore of that more and more. And that's because of BioWare and the Old Republic as well. Like the way they have Jedi's and Sith fighting and everything. It's like a lot of Star Wars fans will tell you that's kind of the stories they want to hear. And they're just great writers over there and great storytellers. The games are fun. Unfortunately, now it's a bit odd, but at time we'll have to wait and see what Anthem is like. It could be interesting, and it seems like that's the make or break really for BioWare as well, if honest, because I don't think anyone's trusting Dragon Age right now, or the team that made the last Mass Effect Andromeda game, or the last Dragon Age game as well. So time will tell what happens, but hopefully Anthem can just pull something good, like the good graces of BioWare. But we'll have to see. Number one, I'm gonna have to go with Rockstar as well. I think it's the same thing. Like thinking about it more and more, I've bought a Rockstar game all the time. I don't think I've missed out on one. Right now, the only one I'm missing out on is Red Dead Redemption 2. But it's like what Ed said, it is quality over quantity. Like they take their time. You anticipate them releasing something. When you see a trailer of theirs, you're just like, oh shit, it's out, it's coming out, blah blah, this that, and you are willing to wait another 10 years if you have to get that game, and then you will say at the end of it, it's worth it. So yeah, Rockstar is a powerhouse. Everyone stays away from them when the game comes out because the sales are going to be insane, and people are glad to wait for the games that they release. So yeah, it's quite straightforward really with that one. Rockstar is my number one pick.
Once again, another awesome list, and all three of you have put a lot of pressure on me now to really talk about what my picks are. But yeah, excellent picks. So first and foremost, mine's some of them are very similar. There's probably like one that's going to be a little bit different. I do want to give an honorable mention to Playground Games because they always do an excellent job with the Forza, Horizon series. I know they're currently working on an open world RPG, which may or may not be a new Fable. So I have to give them props because really, when I started playing Forza Horizon, I played it because of Edward's recommendation. I have never really been into racing games heavily, but when I played Forza Horizon 2, I was like, wow, this game is absolutely fantastic. And ever since then, I've played every Forza Horizon game. So I feel like I definitely want to give them an honorable mention at the most because they got me into a genre that I really wasn't really fully invested into. But after playing through Forza Horizon 2, 3, and now playing 4, I have to say, yeah, got to give them props for that. So that's definitely an honorable mention.
Wait,
Um,
is your list current or all time?
oh yeah, this is going to be current.
Okay.
Um, it's going to be somewhat current. Uh, Even though I have not completed one of the games that I will mention, but I have to still mention that. So number three, and let me just say, number three is not. This doesn't mean that because it's lower on the list that this is not a, shouldn't. This doesn't mean that it's a bad game or a bad company. I want to mention these people because, like Rami said, Bethesda makes excellent games. Of course, we can debate Fallout 76 because that was a complete disaster. But my number three pick, without a shadow of a doubt, it is Machine Games, the team that made Wolfenstein. Because when they released that reboot, and that was actually their first game, the reboot of the Wolfenstein game, man, that is still one of my favorite games that I have played from the particular generation. I believe that game came out last generation, if I'm correct, or towards the tail end because they re-released it again on PS4 and Xbox One. But that's still to this very day one of the best Bethesda games that I have enjoyed of all the games that I've played, including some of the other titles that they've released. That is still at the top of my list as it was an excellent experience. Wolfenstein 2 is not quite as good as the first game, but it's still fantastic, and I cannot wait until Wolfenstein 3. I'm not talking about the one releasing this year because that's not the third game. That's just a side game involving his daughters. But I cannot wait for Wolfenstein 3. But yeah, I have to say Machine Games number 3. Number 2, this is going to be a little controversial. I have to say CD Projekt Red. I would have made them number 1,
Whoa.
but the reason why I can't make them number 1 is because I still haven't finished The Witcher 3. I saw the CD. I saw the behind the closed doors footage of Cyberpunk 2077, and I was absolutely blown away by that because I know they primarily specialize in these third person games. So when they decided to make this a first person game, I was just like, yeah, this looks fantastic. I can just imagine, based on what little we did see, how detailed and how much this game is going to how much is going to be behind this game. I definitely think this is going to be a game of the year contender. It'll be in that discussion right along with Last of Us, and I will also add Anthem is going to possibly be on that list as well, based on what we've seen so far. And I could be wrong about Anthem, but we'll know whether or not that game is actually good next month. But CD Projekt Red, as Gary has already stated, they always put out a high quality product. They always give you a ton of value for your money. They don't really do the whole microtransactions thing. Yes, they will do an expansion from time to time, but it is always 100% worth it. Like even the expansion content for The Witcher 3, I've heard some of that content can go up to 10 hours. And when you consider the price that you're paying for the expansion for the DLC, it's a totally worth it in terms of value and everything else. So I do need to finish The Witcher 3. I do need to go back and play all the DLC, but I do think they've done enough to convince me they absolutely are one of the better companies out here, and they definitely deserve to be number 2 on my list. And finally, number 1. This is tough. I also have to say Rockstar Games. And once again, I have not finished Red Dead Redemption 2. I think I'm close to getting, I mean, I'm around chapter 5. I don't think I have that much longer to go. But I say Red Dead Redemption and I say Rockstar in general because, again, as you guys have already said, every time they release a game, it's an event. It's not really like it's just any company that releases a game every year, like Activision, Call of Duty. Every single year we get a Call of Duty. With a Rockstar game, it takes a while for them to craft and make their games fantastic. So, we may not see a GTA 6 until maybe 20, 23, 24, 25, whatever. And that would make sense because they're going to take their time to make it as good as it possibly could be. But with Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm not going to sit here and say the gameplay is phenomenal because there are some issues that I do have with the game, but from a standpoint of the quality of the game, this is something where you can tell they spent a ton of time making this game because it looks fantastic. The story is excellent from what I played so far. So I definitely think that they deserve to be in this discussion in terms of being on my list for at the very top of the list. I did think about Naughty Dog because of what Ed had mentioned earlier, and Naughty Dog absolutely, positively does deserve to be on this list. But because we still do not know when Last of Us Part 2 is coming out, I can't say for sure that I could add them yet because I need some release dates for some of this stuff. I need to know for sure it's dropping this year, and they haven't said anything about when this game is dropping. So, what they've done so far has been excellent. I've enjoyed Uncharted. I've enjoyed even the Uncharted DLC, the Uncharted expansion. That was a great game as well. But Last of Us, everybody's looking forward to Last of Us Part 2. So until I know when this game is coming out and it's actually coming out, and I know that they actually nail it 100%, I have to say, okay, leave that as an honorable mention for now. But they definitely have done excellent work, so I'm curious to see what they do next. But yeah, my top 3, without a doubt, Rockstar, CD Projekt Red, and Machine Games. Yeah.
Awesome. Great lists.
Yes.
Yeah, I do want to say if we were talking all time, like if I was talking all time, BioWare would definitely make my list too. So
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. Because everything that the Rams had to say about BioWare, yeah, man. I mean, that Mass Effect, that was one of the, next to BioShock, that was one of the first games that I really played and enjoyed on the Xbox. And I was especially pissed when Microsoft had an opportunity to pick up that license and they decided, no, we're not going to do this. Because I'll be very curious to know how things would be now if Microsoft did pick up that Mass Effect license in BioWare in general. What would happen now? They for sure would have another franchise exclusive to their console that would have probably helped them even further. But it is what it is. They didn't do it, so we are where we are right now.
Yeah, it's a shame. I don't think it would have lasted long, if I'm honest, if they went with Microsoft as it is, but it probably would have been a better route. Like, it probably would have been more freedom for them to kind of do more things that, it helped make Xbox really good. I mean, when the first original Xbox was out, you had Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire, both really, really fun games. Both BioWare and both great storytelling games. Then you had Mass Effect, which at the time was exclusive to Xbox 360, and that was just such an awesome game. Mass Effect 2 came out, and it's probably one of my most replayed game over and over again, that I've tried to keep building characters and try and get certain endings going on, everything. And then, yeah, I guess by the time when EA got the license, which was, I guess, around when Mass Effect 2 came out, then they announced, it's multi-platform, and they wanted to do all these weird DLCs that came out for Mass Effect 2 as well, which kind of predicted like future thoughts of what to expect in the next Mass Effect games, and it got you worried straight away. So even though, I say regretfully I put them in my number 2 choice, but I still hold something special for them because I'm going to end up buying their games, but I will get angry at it, or I will just be releasing this big sigh. But yeah, that's just my thought for BioWare.
Absolutely. Excellent. So, any other thoughts or any other studios you guys want to mention before we get ready to wrap up the show?
Yeah, Square Enix, like they would
Uh-oh.
definitely be on my all time.
Now, hold on a second. Now, is this the same Square Enix that is currently developing the Final Fantasy game that we still don't know when the hell the Final Fantasy VII remake is dropping?
Yep, I mean, okay, like right now, Square Enix is questionable, but when you look at all time, like their legacy is solidified,
Yeah.
100%. So,
I agree with that. I was going
Yeah.
to say them as well on my list, but again, I'm comparing it to now recent times and everything, and I'm just like, there needs to be consistency, and Square's kind of falling into that, not really consistent. They're just releasing games that look cool, and you're like, all right, fine. But they're so cool. I mean, all the Final Fantasy games you can, well, I say all of them, but most Final Fantasy games, you look at them and you just like, you grew up with that. And then you got Tomb Raider and then Hitman as well and everything. So it's all working for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah,
So-
and speaking of Square Enix, I mean, a certain game releases next week, and I haven't really heard much. Like, I haven't heard much hype.
I'm not sure what game this could be. You must be talking about that Capcom game, Resident Evil 2.
Oh, nah, no, I'm not talking about that. But yeah, I'm hearing more hype for that than the other game, so that's
Well,
interesting.
that I'm pretty sure that will change. Because if I check the release date, that Resident Evil game is out on the 25th. So I more than likely will be playing that next weekend. But this other game you're mentioning is out the following week on like a Tuesday.
Oh, it
So,
is? I thought it was the 25th.
oh no, I think they changed it to the 29th.
Oh, okay. My bad.
So trust me, there will be hype for this game for sure. That is probably Square Enix. Well, no, it's not probably. That is I think their most anticipated game this year because we don't know when any of these other titles are coming out. Final Fantasy Remaster, that'll probably be out when PlayStation 5 launches in about 2 years. But yeah, I think this other game was something having to do with some hearts game with the number 3 in it. That game is without a doubt. I think that is the most anticipated game that they have on their lineup right now for this year.
Yeah,
if I had to make a
Rams
guess.
said he's looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, I heard Ed is also going to be getting that on Xbox. So
Yeah, me and Ed are gonna do co-op on that game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do want to make a quick comment also of another studio I want to mention, and I don't really say this as a joke because I am very serious about it. And no, I'm not talking about the Koalition. I'm talking about the Koalition with a C, because I enjoyed the hell out of Gears of War 4. I'm looking forward to 5 because it looks as though it's going to be a different type of direction for the series. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the franchise moving forward. So I definitely want to mention them because I really enjoyed Gears of War 4. So I did want to mention that.
You probably got some business with them because they have one game, like their track record. Come on. They're not worth mentioning.
It's cause
Oh, you don't think so?
It's because they're the Coalition, man. We share a name. That's why.
I thought you was you enjoyed Gears of War 4.
I did, but like they got one game under their belt. Like I can't give them props as far as this list is concerned.
Okay, I understand.
Like, you need to have a track record.
A track record. Yes, I make sure. Okay, all right. I understand. I understand that. So maybe to be determined. To be determined. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see. So any other picks before we wrap up the show?
I heard Rams whisper Ukes.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Or
Ukes
2K,
with that,
right? Yeah,
with
2K.
that consistency on the WWE games. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Consistently disappointing in some aspects, but still a fun game. Still I am gonna be playing. I'm pretty sure you saw the trailer for Ricochet. They released that the other day, so I will be playing that. Because Royal Rumble is coming up the next weekend, so I will be playing some of that game.
Well, unfortunately, I think, well, our good friend Carl, he bought the latest one, I think it was, or one before, I can't remember.
Yeah,
That was,
2K19.
yeah, the latest one. Yeah, that was just not good. Those glitches are unfortunately made the game worse. We couldn't even complete a Royal Rumble or anything like that, so it was unfortunate.
Oh, that's not good.
No, I just probably gonna throw it in there really quickly. I'd say Nintendo, because Nintendo's just been kind of like their standout when it comes to like Zelda and Mario and then Smash Bros. And whenever they do release a Metroid game, and their childhood, so that's something.
That's a very good one. Yeah, every time they release something, it is of high quality. You don't have to worry about the game having any glitches. At least the only issue with Nintendo is the online stuff. But I haven't really experienced that myself, so I can't say for sure it's an issue. I know some people that complained about it, but I don't know if that's something that everybody complains about. So, but Nintendo, yeah, they always put out a quality product, so that's a great one. Let me ask a quick question. And I promise this will be the last question I ask. Would you guys, and I'm pretty sure Ed is going to have something to say about this. Would you guys at the very least, give Ubisoft credit for the creativity? Because I know when they released the first Assassin's Creed, I remember at one point EA was going to try and buy them out. But they kept saying, we have other things we want to do. And ever since that moment, of course, they didn't go with EA, but they have other franchises. They have the Division 2, you have Far Cry, etc. So would you guys at least say they do deserve to, if I'm not saying they will be at the top of this list, but if it was maybe a top 10, do you think they deserve to be on that list if we're doing like a top 10?
They definitely deserve to be in the conversation. Definitely.
Okay.
I was actually considering them too. But yeah, like I don't know, like sometimes they can be inconsistent or a bit shaky. But there's no denying that they've put out some great and some classic games. So if we're talking an all-time list, then yeah, they deserve to be in the conversation.
Okay. All right. That's what I was curious, because I know Ed complained about the most recent Assassin's Creed game. So, okay. So, finally, really this time, any final thoughts before we get ready to wrap up tonight's show?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm good as well.
Awesome. So, first and foremost, I definitely want to give a shout out to Ramesh for being on today, as well as Edward. Thank you both for jumping on the show. I think we had some very fun discussions throughout, very enjoyable. Definitely want to thank everybody for tuning into the show. If you're watching live or you're watching later, we appreciate your continued support. And now I'm going to pass out the floor for shout outs. So, Ramesh, do you have any shout outs that you would like to give?
No, not really. I have no friends. No, thanks for having me on the show. Sorry I jumped in a bit late or whatever. Yeah, just thanks for having me on. I'm supposed to promote my website because that's kind of apparently the main reason I'm here. I don't know.
And you should remind everybody again, what is the address and how they can follow you on Twitter?
It is RamizQuadri.com. You will never be able to spell it. And my Twitter is RamizSQuadri. You will never be able to spell it. So you will never be able to find me, and you will never be able to find my website. But if you manage somehow, then I do design stuff. And if you want some design stuff, talk to me, I guess. I've done some stuff for Koalition. I think they like it.
Yes.
That's what I go by. There we go.
Yeah, and for all you people that can't spell it, just check the description. I'll put all the information in there.
There you go.
Absolutely.
But thanks again for having me on the show. It's always fun.
It's always cool. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for being on. Always a pleasure. How about you, Ed? Any shout outs that you would like to give?
I would shout out my website, but I don't have one because Rams took too long with the logo. So, yeah.
I had your logo built from 2008 when you were all on a mission and stuff like that. I had you ready, man. Come on.
Man, my last name was misspelled on that fucking logo, man.
Nah, you didn't tell me anything.
That's why I never paid.
Sucks, dude. You never even launched a show. Velasquez Verified, was it? Velasquez Verified Games. Yeah.
Man.
Should have worked.
RamizQuadri.com.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. All right. And I want to take a quick minute to give a shout out to everybody on the Koalition staff. Give a shout out to Dana. We do have a new movie cast coming this weekend. There's actually a couple of things I need to watch, so make sure you stay tuned for that because we got to talk about a lot of stuff that went down this week in entertainment as well. So stay tuned for that.
Are y'all going to review Glass?
Oh, I do have something to say about Glass because I did see that because oh Lord, there's a lot to say about that movie. Yeah, cool. Stay tuned for that. We'll give a shout out to everyone else on staff. Give a shout out to Tatiana, JJ, Mr. Tony Polanco, Mr. Carl Daniel, who will probably watch this show later and complain that he wasn't invited to the show, even though we have said multiple times you could come on the show anytime. I'm still waiting for him to jump on the episode. We'll see if that happens in the future. But yeah, shout out to everybody on the Koalition staff for the continued work, support. And Gary, the floor is now yours for shout outs.
Oh yeah, so big shouts to our Patreon people. I'm gonna shout out some of them right now. Mr. M. Collins, Mauricio Aguilar, Himdil, Fergus Mills, Miguel, Antonio Rogers, Sean Gority. And yeah, that's it. So thanks to all the supporters. We're working on putting out more content for the Patreon people, whether it's timed exclusive or all-time exclusive. You can look out for more content coming this year. And just shouts to everyone who participated in the show. Thanks to Rams for being here and Edward. And big thanks to the whole Koalition staff for doing what they do. We all live busy lives, but we still set aside time to create content for the site and everything. So big shouts to all of us. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Absolutely. Yes. So once again, thank you for all your continued support. We hope that you have an excellent weekend, and we will talk to you all next week.